of the town of Cedar Lake. If you would please join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, Wendy, can you start us off with the roll call, please?
Ryan Lisek.
Here.
Patrick Conlon.
Here.
Benji Kinchlow.
Present.
Don Oliphant.
Here.
David Austin. Jeff Bungie. Eric Bosma.
Here.
Julie Rivera. Here. And Wendy Schmicke. Here.
Thank you very much. Did everyone have a chance to review the minutes from February 1st of 2024? And if so, can we make a motion to approve the minutes?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the February 1st meeting.
I'll second the motion.
Ryan Lisek.
Yes.
Patrick Conlon.
Yes.
Benji Kinchlow.
Yes.
All right, in reviewing the claims funds from account number 650 for $29,044.16, is there any questions or topics to discuss related to this? Without hearing any, can I receive a motion to approve the funds?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve the claims fund for, the claims for Fund 650 in the amount of $29,044.16.
I'll make a motion to second that.
Ryan Lisek.
Yes.
Patrick Conlon.
Yes.
Benji Kinchlow.
Yes.
All right, getting right into update items Item A, we have the Eric Hines property at 7513 West 136th Avenue. No updates?
No updates on that one.
Okay.
I don't know if that was part of the package that David sent that he got done. I know the other ones were, as we kind of get further down. So I'm going to have to check with him. I don't know.
Okay. Moving on to Schubert and Dodge Street.
That's just a long-term project.
I hear you. Okay. How about Woods of Cedar Creek? Any update regarding?
I know we've gotten several of those easements signed. I don't know the exact status on which ones we're waiting on. I was trying to meet with Brian out there over the past couple of weeks. We kind of just missed each other. We may have to extend a new one onto his parcel, depending exactly where some of his landscaping is falling. So he's the one all the way up here. I never requested an easement from him because there already is a platted easement on his rear, like a 15-foot, 20-foot easement on the rear. Problem is that's all wooded, and he's got a whole bunch of landscaping back there, and the low spot's actually quite a ways off that easement. It's like 50 feet, kind of settling in here because he's built this up. Problem with that is that our line on our pipes following this common lot line. So if we want to try to capture that, we're going to have to zigzag and come back. Or we put it in our easement and he ties onto it. So that would be the only caveat. I mean, that's the upstream part of our system, so it's not, we're not tweaking anything else. It's just a matter of where do we put it. Our easement's pretty cluttered at the moment with big trees and landscaping. And they're big trees, let me tell you, like they're big woods. I don't want to be cutting them down. It just gets expensive. So he and I are going to have to touch base about how we potentially close that off because our easements on these kind of follow this lot line. So we're going to have to somehow jog back to catch it. Which isn't going to exactly be easy. This doesn't really, this kind of does justice. You can kind of see. This is weird. Kind of that low spot creeps. They're just pockets on this property that don't drain.
I wonder if any of the new construction is affected any other, from a positive way on the other side?
On the east?
Yeah.
No, cause this is a high point right here, you can kinda see how the contours wanna connect. So this midpoint of his lot kinda breaks this way and heads south towards this ravine and pipe down here, and then this one kinda goes up towards our system. So that one might take some work to see how we best can do it. It's not a whole lot of extra pipe or even manholes at that point, but I don't wanna be switching easements at this time, and that would take switching on Dunbar's, which I think is fine. So, but without, Jeff here, I don't know the status on all the easements. I know a lot of them have come in and signed them, but I don't know who we may be missing or if we got them all. And if we got them all, then we need to get our budget numbers for this year and figure out what we got. So, there's progress on it, little by little. It's going there.
It'd be great to have everything and.
Yeah. So I just gotta, I don't know, and Margaret's last day is Friday, and she's been kinda heading that up, so I'm gonna try to touch base with her before she leaves tomorrow. See where that stuff's left off. She's been really good about kind of trying to tie stuff off for the last week, so I'll let her know that. It'd be nice if I knew where that was at. So, that's that.
Okay. All right, moving down to the brewing property. Eric, you're probably more familiar with that.
Yeah, we still have to go over there and clean up his end of that street. We were gonna do it today, but they were using the skid steer for something else. So, within the next, probably next week, sometime.
Okay.
So that should be about it. I do believe he is selling his home,
Yeah, I saw it.
so. I know Wendy said that his wife called a couple days ago, so,
And just said they were selling.
yeah, they're selling. Well, I don't know, what did she say to you,
She
anything?
she asked for you and she wanted the work done.
Probably 'cause they're selling it now, so.
Gotcha.
I know he did mention to me that when we were over there cutting that driveway, that he was just probably gonna end up just selling the house now anyway, since he can't do his garage the way that he wants, so,
Did he get denied at PDA?
I think so.
All right, well, we'll check on that next meeting. Thank you. Moving down to the next item, Angie Mikolajczyk at 12806 Lee Court.
So we mentioned at the last meeting that I went out there and kind of discussed everything with her. I mean, she's under the impression and understanding that we're kind of holding until her rear parcel. If that does something, we can solve it. I think everybody's aware they pulled their application from Plan Commission maybe 2-3 months ago. But the anticipation is that they will return once they kind of mitigate some of the violations they have from the zoning code on that parcel. If that parcel develops, this can correct her issue. If it doesn't, then we're gonna have to do something else. But we kind of agreed that we were gonna wait to see where that one went. Because if that does go, they can fix the problem on their dime based on how they have to build their houses. So, we're kind of at a waiting game with that one, and keep it on updates, and we'll just play it by ear as we move forward, and if something reappears on Plan Commission and they build something, then that's the solution. So, if not, we have a game plan that's relatively cost-effective, if they don't, so, to
Okay.
just lose some foliage on her property line.
Thank you. Public Works Projects. Julianne Gibbons, 6425 West, 145th Street.
So there is movement on this one. I met Tim out there on Tuesday, kind of went out there and mapped everything out. They had called some locations in, or some locates in, but need to call some more in. I don't think he was aware of the cross culvert on 145th we were gonna take out too. So I think he was recalling those in. measure everything out, so he's got pipe lengths, he's got structure types, grate types, so it's in his court to kind of do it all now. Her old fence is still up, we'll probably end up putting it right next to it, because her fence is probably 2 to 3 feet into the Malacart's property, but she's planning on taking that out anyways. It's my impression that she already has a fence contractor lined up. So, yeah, we were out there on Tuesday, measuring stuff up, so he should be ready to go once he gets it ordered, and should proceed here as soon as they have time.
Yeah, he told me this morning, so he said that he wants to get the stuff ordered, and he said he will be out there helping us too. Him personally, so.
Yeah, we actually kind of tweaked it a little bit. We were going to cross Wheeler, so we're actually going to come straight north along the east edge and tap into the existing structure if we can in her driveway, essentially somewhere in this vicinity.
Yeah, he mentioned that to me this morning about it, instead of going across the street, I said, it's your.
Shortens our pipe a little bit, prevents us from crossing the street. The only caveat is we gotta pull that manhole and figure out exactly where that cross pipe, the existing pipe that we're gonna leave in the ground that kind of cuts across Miss Gibbons' property.
Yeah.
That comes in at a funky angle into that manhole or driveway. So we just gotta make sure it's shifted enough around it that we're not putting the pipe immediately adjacent to it, which may compromise one of the walls on it. Cause we're only using plastic pipe, so.
Yeah. I think he said he was gonna find it.
Yeah,
So
he was gonna go out there and take his transit too and make sure the grades work, because you guys actually have it's a pretty deep cut at that corner.
Yeah.
So, that'll be fun.
Yeah, he mentioned something about the
48.
The trench box and everything too, and I'm like, that's fine, so, but he wants to go out there with Tyler and I don't know if it's tomorrow or beginning of next week.
Alright, and we had a pretty good game plan, seemed pretty self-explanatory to him, so.
Because I know him and Tyler both said they want to find the one that's going across her yard.
Yeah, I told them about that one. I knew there were some concerns about the camera on that one, some of the joints may have been.
Yeah, like we couldn't go all the way with the camera, but we jetted it, so.
Yeah, and I don't think she's had any kind of sinkhole problems.
I don't think so either.
Because it's a new pipe.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty confident it's not an easement. So,
Probably not, yeah.
I mean, that's the one, if we start seeing it fail in the future, we can do something about it, but it's not endangering anything at the moment.
Well, I thought, doesn't she have like a whole bunch of sub pumps connected to that or something?
I don't know if it's that one or the one in her rear yard. That's the reason why we're leaving that in there and leaving it connected. We're gonna bulkhead the upstream side of it where we're putting our structure in.
Okay.
So if she does have something tied into it, at least that's all it's being now.
Yeah, okay.
So it should be good, but, yeah, it's kind of it should be a pretty easy project. I think it's like a 65-foot piece of pipe and then a 70-foot piece of pipe and 2 structures.
Yeah, so once we can get him to go over there and order all the stuff and we'll be able to.
Great, that's positive news. Did you do something to that street? Or were you gonna do something to that street?
I don't know if we're gonna do anything this street now.
That's up to Tim. I brought it up again, he said most likely not, but
That's what he
he's
told me
aware of
this
it.
morning, so I don't know.
You're gonna have some asphalt for the cross culvert at 145th.
Yeah, we're gonna
For
have to
sure.
anyway. Well, we already figured that, cause we were
Yeah.
gonna do that years ago.
Road's in rough shape.
Yeah.
Like rough shape.
I know he mentioned something that he didn't wanna make it any worse than what it is now.
You're gonna, that one structure, you're gonna be cutting into the road a little bit.
Yeah, I
Cause
saw.
it's deep. It's probably 7-8 feet deep.
I mean, we'll leave it up to him to make the decision. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, that was part of our kind of plan, but that was also kind of a option B, cause it's a
Yeah.
fairly large stretch of road that they'd have to redo.
Yeah.
And that most likely wouldn't be a public works project.
No, that would be Milestone or whoever.
I mean, we may be able to swing Milestone over something like that with our Shades project, if they're willing to do it. They're gonna have to bring the mill out one
Yeah.
more time, so maybe, if we can convince them potentially. I don't know. That would be a,
You
field
spent a couple of weeks
discussion.
over in that neighborhood.
Huh?
You spent a couple of weeks over there with the mill.
Well, that's the thing, where do you stop?
Right.
Couple of
So,
months.
I mean, that's one of the neighborhoods that's, on the master plan that we all hear about, but, it's
Yeah.
$2-3 million project. We got 10 of them. Do the math. So, it's a lot of money.
Okay, well, that's positive news.
Yeah, that's the movement.
So thank you.
Yes.
All right, moving on to the Justin Latz property, 7320 West 140th place.
So this is one of the interesting ones again. I think we mentioned at our last meeting that, Mr. Latz is not the problem. It's his western neighbor. I can find where I'm at here. All right, what the heck?
7320 West 140th.
It's just crazy. There he is.
There you go.
It's my understanding Mr. Latz has signed his easement. Mr. Sullivan, his western neighbor, who also needed an easement from, he is no longer living and hasn't been alive for, I think we're in 5 or 6 years. I think his kids are living there. That provides a legal issue. David, myself, and Nick Rakupido have a meeting set for early next week to kind of talk about how we potentially get around that and get the easement. But that one's not as simple as every other one we've had. Because he's not alive to sign it, but it's still in his name, and he's been passed away for so long that provides a legal issue about transfer of title to the kids, and so I'm not 100% sure where that one's going to go. But, like I said, we have a meeting next week. I think David's going to educate us about what the steps may be. But honestly, I have no idea. This is one of the first times.
I can't read the description on the parcel, does it say?
Huh?
Is it in his name?
Stephen Sullivan, yeah.
Okay.
I forget what his kids' names were, but yeah, I think one of them's living there and has
Yeah.
lived there for quite a while.
Somebody's living there, I think it's one of the sons.
So,
Is
yeah.
that common for a parcel to stay in somebody's name even though they passed?
I don't think so.
Usually
I
it
think
goes
it
to
would,
a will of trust.
it would go into an
Right,
estate and
yeah.
transfer, so this is definitely a unique
Yeah,
situation.
that's what you guys gotta get to the bottom of, yeah.
So, and I know Justin was here last meeting asking if we needed that parcel, but a lot of this grading's really close to that property line. I know he said,
Right next to it.
yeah, that those are his trees. Well, we're not going out there to do an actual boundary survey to figure out who owns what. So we want to cover our butts and get an easement to cover our limits.
Mhm.
So he may be right, those trees may be on his, but if we start encroaching even a little bit, those trees aren't terribly big, but not terribly small
No,
either.
I mean,
So I don't wanna temporarily
yeah,
do something on somebody else's property and get in trouble for it, so.
yeah.
So, yeah, we'll see where that goes, and we'll have an update at next meeting, hopefully, and have a solution direction.
Yeah, that's a weird situation.
Yep.
Okay, moving on to new business. We have the 2024 project ranking.
I don't have a budget for this year. I thought that's what we were gonna get this meeting. Right? Wasn't that what we discussed?
Yeah.
I brought it up
I
last
thought.
meeting, if we wanted to start doing that, but I think everybody agreed we want the numbers first. I don't have anything from Jen or Jeff or anybody. I mean, it helps that we haven't done the 23 projects yet, so. They're moving.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Woods may jump last if we can't get Sullivan figured out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cause if you didn't do last, I think you'd have money to do Woods and Cedar Creek even based on last year's budget.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It'd be close.
Yeah, especially if we have all the easements too, before they.
Yeah. So like I said, I'll figure that stuff with Margaret tomorrow, hopefully.
Does someone on this board need to notify Jen or Jeff that we need a budget? I mean, are they aware of that?
I thought Jeff was at the last meeting, wasn't he?
No,
No.
Who was? I swear somebody was here.
just David and.
Yeah.
Just the 18th.
Okay. The 18th.
It's a thin crowd right here.
I'll reach out to Jen and get it from her,
Okay.
so.
Thanks, Don.
Mhm.
And then do we still have the spreadsheets and stuff that we use? I can probably dig one up. Do you guys?
Yeah, I can
Yeah, it's a
update it.
Spreadsheet.
It's in the rankings?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's on the iPad
okay.
somewhere. In the
The
2023
23
meeting.
March.
Okay.
If you guys wanna look at it again, make tweaks to it, it's up to you too. It doesn't sound like we're gonna be ranking until
I can email,
June.
Yeah,
Or May.
yeah.
I can email a copy to everybody.
So it's in the March, like the ranking,
23.
yeah. What's how we ranked them?
Okay. Wilson Ditch Project.
It's the one I brought up, last meeting, kind of a blast from the past one that existed before I think any three of you were even up here. Kinda just came out of mothballs, Tim expressed interest in finally doing it. Told me he was gonna be here tonight to explain, but apparently not. So there was some discussion, he was supposed to get in touch with Jen also to figure out, he had a dollar amount for it because Public Works was gonna do the project, so he was gonna see if the funding was still there. I mean, this thing is several years old at this point, but, it's a small project, that's been on his plate for a while and he wanted to finish it, so it's all in the right of way, but he said he was gonna come here to explain it, so,
I wish he would, actually.
yeah,
I wish he'd come to all of them. That way he can answer the questions that we can't.
yeah. So, I don't know, it's not an overly costly project thing, it's gonna probably be in the range of 25,000. It's really curb work, some minor changes to some of the pavement and the grades around there. Excuse me. So, yeah, so I will lump that in with Jen, I'll get a hold of Jen and see if it's still in there. Or we can throw it on the rating list, but I think he's moving forward with it.
Yeah, he still has yet to
Yeah.
tell me about it, so I don't know anything about it except for what we talk about here, so.
It's a really easy plan. The thought was that we're gonna have 8th Street Concrete in town
Yeah.
in the next month or two doing CDBG work for ADA ramps. So they're already out here. We don't have to, pay a demob for them. They do good work. So I think that was part of the reason that it kinda came up. The majority of this is curb work with some minor asphalt. And then I think Public Works is gonna take care of some of the minor pipe and,
Yeah, I think you wanna go across the street with
yeah,
one or
it's
something.
a
but-
stretch of pipe across the street, one inlet, and then modifying another. So
Yeah, I remember talking about this a few years ago,
Yeah.
about it, and then we just kinda went by the wayside and never got done.
It just never got done. So, I'll bring that up to Jen too, see what she has to say. That'll kind of lump in, I think, what our budgets are, what we have remaining from last year and what our 24 will be.
Just for the geographically deficient, can we put an address next to this?
Yes, we'll call it Miss Wilson's parcel, so it's 8337 West 128th Place.
Thank you. And I know that we were talking about the Wicker Meadow Storm Project as well. And Councilperson Rivera had brought that up. Is there any update or discussion regarding that?
There really hasn't been, other than, someone else in the public brought it up in a meeting. As I stated before, I know that, the homeowner would like to see additional improvements. Don, you had a report on this, it was circulated, correct?
It was.
Circulated to the board, okay. So, as far as I know, unless money's become available and there's a need for it, I think the work that was done on it in the past has satisfied it, has not made it perfect by any means. It's just,
Yeah, I mean, Jeff reached out to me on Monday or Tuesday, and asked me about it. I believe David brought it up to him.
okay, so
Um,
maybe they had other communications that I wasn't aware of.
Yeah, and Jeff obviously doesn't know anything about it, but I brought him up to speed, kind of the last things we did in 2018, which is, you know, these parcels were purchased by the council on the rear of, this Kovac Meadows subdivision. But those were kind of bought preemptively in anticipation of a project, but that project required buy-in from this western parcel owner,
Who would not sell.
who did not sell or give grant easement. We needed a flood easement because we were diverting water into his property. It's already low, that was the intention of it, but, if he didn't buy into it, there's no project. He did not buy into it. He no longer even owns it. You can kind of see there's a big kind of swale through it, but there's also a high point that diverted where we were getting a lot of the water. So we were cutting through a high point. And that was the point of that kind of east-west swath right there. But without his buy-in, there's no project.
Right, Jeff and David have not mentioned to me that there's been further discussion, so I'm just hearing this now.
Yeah, I honestly don't know why it came back up again. We hadn't heard about it, and like I said, 2018 is the last time we did anything for it. All the different improvements that we done, and there were several, all throughout the area. I mean, down on 129th, there was stuff done up there. There was some stuff done in the rears of these properties. There was stuff done for the detention basin. So you know, over the years, there's been exhaustive fixes to it. And like Julie said, it's not perfect, but it's our understanding since 2018, they have not flooded.
Not in their home, not
No.
in the house, no.
But there's nothing we can do because the easement can't be obtained, right? I mean,
For that project, no, and there's already a bypass pipe in there, but there are a whole lot of utilities back there as well. So, it's a mess back in that kind of southwest corner, so, but like I said, over the years, I mean, this thing was built in
2004.
2004, okay, yeah. So it's been a while, I mean, that's several councils before, several engineers before, that's before we were even here. There were some issues with the approval, sure, but there's been a lot of work done in the meantime to correct it, so. I don't know why it came up, but. I mean-
Yeah, a couple of years ago, we went back there and fixed a sinkhole.
Yeah, and that's the other thing, there's a lot of drain tiles that come off this Kovac parcel that head north that were cut off in the meantime, so those have been tied into the bypass pipe. There's a lot of stuff that goes on back
It was
there.
really hard to get back there. We were able to sneak through the two fences.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's like a 2-foot gap in the fence
Yeah.
that you can like go cartoon and go sideways.
Yeah, it was a little saturated, it wasn't flooded, but we ended up fixing the hole.
No.
That was probably 3 years ago.
And when or if the old tree farm here develops south of 129th, that will permanently solve any kind of issues.
That's what I was gonna ask about.
Yeah, so this parcel, we kind of call it the Novak parcel now, because he's the owner. He's come before Planning Commission for conceptual plans at least 2 times over the last 7 or 8 years. The last one he brought forward was, it's probably going on a year and a half ago, for a kind of a multi-use commercial development. Kind of got stalled for some wetland impacts, and we haven't heard anything about it for quite a while now, but when that does develop, their detention basin will be at the northwest corner, pick up all that drainage that's kind of causing the problem. There's actually, I mean, there's a couple fingers that drain that way, so, but that will solve it,
That would be ideal.
yeah. That would take care of it.
What'd you say that was proposed to go in there? A tree farm?
No, it was an old, that's kind of what they call a tree farm parcel, it was a tree farm years ago.
Okay.
But they were proposing kind of a multi-use commercial development with some high-density residential and box stores and commercial off 41. It was a pretty cool development, if they proceed with it ever. So.
Okay. All right, thank you for the update. Should we keep the Wicker Meadows on the date items?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I mean, everybody's aware of it in town, if something does come up.
I mean, if it gets really bad, then yeah, obviously, but.
I live across the street. so
Yeah.
I-
Julie will let us know if she does
Yeah,
anything.
let you know. Sure.
Okay. Thank you. All right, moving on to public comment. And if you have any comment tonight, please approach the podium, state your name and address.
I'm Shirley Dunbar, 6820 West 142nd Place, Woods and Cedar Creek. And I have a question about the easements that we were supposed to sign.
Mm-hmm.
Several of the neighbors were included in the project, but when they came up here to sign the papers, they were told that their names were not on the list. And-
Okay. I don't know if everybody had to re-sign,
Mhm.
so kind of what I said earlier, let me check with Margaret to
Okay.
see who she's missing, if any.
Right.
Um,
I know one next door to me, the Laphams,
Yeah,
Glenn and Donna, he came up to sign, and they told him no.
he may not have to re-sign. I know he was pretty gung-ho about it back in the day, so I know he signed previously. So if they're saying they don't need him to re-sign, then he doesn't need to sign anything, but I will double check. Cause your east neighbor is Brian too, isn't Brian T?
Yes,
Okay,
and Brian is out of town right now.
okay,
He is reachable by phone. if
okay.
you want.
I stopped by and rang his doorbell
Yeah.
like 2 weeks ago and he wasn't there, so
Yeah,
I just
he's
trounced
out of
around.
town.
Okay,
And then the other one is the project ranking. Did I understand that that's not going to happen until probably May or June?
probably. It's been the board's decision to kind of try to get the, available funds first,
Yeah,
and then we'll move on to rankings after that.
all right.
All right?
Thank you.
How you guys doing? So I live over at 14704 Usman, and I'm looking for help or suggestions.
Sorry, what's your full name?
Michael Timmons.
Sorry to interrupt you.
Oh, that's okay.
14704 Houston?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, down on the far south side.
Aha,
Yeah.
this one? So many Hughesman.
Southwest corner. Right there.
Aha, okay.
So I got some standing water there, looking for some help or suggestions.
Where at? Rear yard,
West
front yard, west side?
Yep.
That back, kinda near our, dredging corridor,
Yeah.
our pipe corridor? Well, can't think we have any infrastructure around there. That's gonna be a tricky one.
How come? Because it's so low?
Cause it's so low, I mean, yeah, you have a close contractor there, so I know pretty much where, where it probably's done it, but it's probably done it for how long have you lived there?
Not long. And we just took down the trees, so now you just see it, but it's always flooded. You can see that.
It might have made it worse by taking the trees down,
Maybe.
or it makes it more obvious at least.
Makes
for
it
sure.
more obvious, for
Yeah.
sure.
We typically don't get involved in areas that are historical low areas, cause they're off any kind of town right away, they're away from any kind of town-owned storm sewers, and this is next to the Cedar Lake Marsh. So if you try to pipe this anywhere, unfortunately, as that marsh ebbs and flows up and down, that might make it worse as well. Because this marsh does fluctuate quite a bit.
What about some kind of like a retention ditch?
You're gonna need an outlet for it. So this entire area south of 147, south of Lowerman is routinely just wet.
Oh, no.
So it's hard to, I mean, we'll have seasonally high water tables. That's the kind of stuff you can't really mitigate without pumps. Because you're essentially pumping down, groundwater or Cause yeah, if you stub a pipe south where you can catch grade, well, that starts bringing, that opens the opportunity of just backflowing onto you too. So
It stayed
historically,
dry
low
all
areas,
summer.
huh?
It was dry all summer, and then, you know, we had this weird rain with the
Yeah.
hills. Now it just won't go away. It's not real deep, but it's just nasty looking, you know?
Yeah, I don't, we can run out and look at it, but I honestly don't know how we could fix that. I think that would be tough. Like, quite tough. When did you buy your property?
A couple of years ago.
Okay.
Can you at least take a look?
I'll take a look at it, for sure. Just my immediate, looking at it now, pretty familiar with that just because of the dredge pipelines there, so we're there a lot lately. Yeah, we'll take a look at it, and if we'll have a better idea about what we're looking at next meeting. So if you wanna come back next meeting, we'll see what we see.
Appreciate it.
All right, thanks.
Okay, if there's no other public comments, we will adjourn the meeting. Thank you very much, everyone, and we will see you back next month.